There are lots of gaps and guesses in our history books. Our historians have done the best they can with the information they have, and archaeologists help them with that by supplying them with as much information as they can about the things that they find. The problem with that arrangement is that archaeologists are sometimes mystified by the things that they discover, as we are about to see with the amazing and enigmatic finds in this video. An astonishing archaeological discovery elsewhere in China in 2018 quickly went from thrilling to terrifying as the researchers found out more about it. The 4,000-year-old lost city, which once sat on a ridge above the country's Stowe River, contains a steeped pyramid that was once 250 feet tall, protected on two sides by the enormous walls. That was the exciting part. The terrifying part came a little later when they started digging and found that the ground around the pyramid contained multiple pits full of hundreds of human skulls. While they could be the leftovers of a great battle, the fact that it's just skulls as opposed to whole skeletons implies that they were the victims of human sacrifice. The city is been named Shimao and is thought to have been founded approximately 4,300 years ago, lasting for around 5 centuries. Entrance to the pyramid leads to an open plaza, which might have been where the sacrifices took place. At the very top, there would have been a grand palace. The discovery of the city challenges our current understanding of the Bronze Age Chinese society, which is based on the idea that the first complex Chinese societies emerged from the Central Plains. Although the pyramids of Cairo gets the most attention in Egypt, they are usually ancient pyramids to be found all over the world, including the pyramid of Silures III in Dashur. The mud brick and limestone pyramid is a little more rustic than the ones you've seen in the movies, and it was made almost 4,000 years ago. Aside from all the usual chambers and tombs that you'd expect to find in such a place, there is also some rather alarming graffiti. One example of which shows a human head with a strikingly modern hairstyle. It's possible but not proven that the tomb was either raided or assessed during the Hyksos occupation around 2,800 years ago, and the graffiti was added at that time. While there are several sarcophagi inside the pyramid, including those of several female members of Silures III's family, the remains of Silures III himself don't appear to be present. They might have been taken by the time some grave robbers who doubled the passageways with graffiti, or alternatively, he might have chosen to be buried in the Abydos tomb instead. The Cryptshunden is one of the best preserved ancient shipwrecks on the planet and offers us a fascinating insight into the kind of mind games that went on during the naval warfare centuries ago. The name of the Danish vessel, which belonged to the army of King John, translates into English as Griffin Hound, which might go some way to explaining the appearance of the strange creature that decorated the bow. If you saw this ship coming for you in the 15th century, you would immediately have known that you were in trouble. The shipwreck is so well preserved that traces of the original paintwork still cling to the figurehead, which confirmed what historians have long believed about fingerheads like these being painted with bright colors after they were carved. Parts of the wreck have split open and spread across the ocean floor, but archaeologists believe that this happened before the sinking rather than after. Historical records suggest that the Cryptshunden sank because of a fire on board. Looking at the evidence, a full-on explosion appears to be more likely the cause. There are few solid pieces of information that we or anybody else can give you about the Novilara stele. We know that it was made around 2,600 years ago, and we know that it was found close to Novilara in Italy. We also know that the inscriptions on the surface are written in a variant of the Etruscan language known as the North Picen. Beyond that, everything is speculation. The reverse of the stele shows a haunting scene, so the text might be a description of that, or it might not be associated at all. The fact that the letters are Etruscan means that we can read them individually, but we don't understand the words. That's only part of the mystery. We don't know where the North Picen language came from or who spoke it. Because of that, we don't have any idea who made the Novilara stele. They might have been a branch of the ancient Etruscan civilization, or they might have been a totally different civilization in their own right in the 130 years since it was found, but none have succeeded. Never know what you might find when the waters of a lake drain away, especially when it's been a long time since the water level dropped. Drought conditions in the Inzig district of Bursa, Turkey, have reduced the waters there to their lowest level in centuries and revealed the remains of basilica that was built 1,500 years ago. Curiously, seals belonging to Scottish knights have been found among the ruins. How they got there is unknown. We have mentioned a few forms of translated text now, so we should probably introduce you to the oldest undeciphered writing in the world. It's etched out across a series of 5,000-year-old tablets and is known as Proto-Elamite. More than 1,600 clay tablets containing examples of language that have been recovered from Iran, and they are considered to be so aesthetically pleasing that some of them are on display in the Louvre in Paris, France. The message written upon them, however, are understood by nobody. The language is so named because of where where it was found. A series of cuneiform tablets made 500 years later has also been recovered from the same area, and the language upon them is known as Elamite. This is a little misleading as the two languages have almost nothing in common. Speaking of Scottish mysteries, archaeologists have made an incredible discovery on the top of the extinct volcano known as Arthur's Seals in Edinburgh, Scotland in early September 2020. It's a scratchy and inhospitable place today, but thousands of years ago it laid host to a whole community known as the Votadeni tribe. 4,500 years ago, a part of the world that we now know as northern India was home to the Indus civilization. Stretching from there into the east of Pakistan, the remains of more than 2,000 Indus sites have been uncovered by archaeologists, but nothing puzzles them quite as much as the Indus script, which appears on the stone seals left behind by the mysterious culture. Are the symbols on the seal a form of written language? We are not sure, but if it is, we still haven't been able to translate it, despite recovering more than 6,000 examples of it. Aside from appearing on stamps, the script also appears on pottery, tablets, weapons, and tools, often accompanied by drawings. The clips often recall, which is telltale sign of written language, but they don't quite recall often enough for analysis to be positive that they are an attempt to convey a message. They might be nothing more significant than a description of the item they have been found on, or they could be a whole written history of the Indus that we don't have the skills or knowledge to translate. The records of Chinese civilization were written not on paper, papyrus, or parchment, but on animal bones. They are called oracle bone scripts, and although we have been able to translate some of them, we are a long way from translating all of them. That's why the National Museum of Chinese Writing in China's Henan province have been offering $155,000 reward to anybody who can translate even a single unknown character of the script since 2017. Hundreds of oracle bones have been discovered in China, dating back 3,000 years to the time of Shang Dynasty. Almost 5,000 different characters have either been painted or carved onto the bones, approximately 2,000 of which have been translated and understood. The rest remain a mystery. With less than half of the characters translated, understanding the full meaning of the oracle bones have proven to be impossible. How long do you imagine that human beings have been playing board games to pass the time? It goes back a lot longer than the invention of Monopoly, and even longer than the invention of chess. During the excavation of a tomb in Xinga, China in March 2016, archaeologists discovered the remains of a board game that was made around 2,300 years ago. We sometimes like to tell ourselves that the people of the era were primitive, but this board game seems to have been quite complex and involved. The die, made from an animal tooth, has 14 faces, each with a different symbol engraved onto it. 21 painted game pieces have also been recovered, along with broken tiles that might once have been part of the board game. By putting the tiles back together, archaeologists were able to determine that the board consisted of two eyes surrounded by clouds and lightning strikes. The only thing missing was the rules, which is a shame because it looks as if this might be a fun game to play if we understood what we were supposed to do. Land is often referred to in the United States of America as the Old Country, but the history of human habitation of the Emerald Isle goes back even further than most people imagine. We know that because of archaeological sites like Drumbeck Stone Circle in Roxbury. The site, which is also sometimes referred to as the Druid Altar, is considered to be the Irelish equivalent of Stone Age in England. There are 13 megaliths standing there today, although it's believed that there were once 4 more. Dating stones is difficult for archaeologists, but radiocarbon testing carried out on human remains uncovered at the site has proven that it was in use at least 3,100 years ago. As is often the case with stone circles, the site has been laid out in alignment with the movement of the sun, in this case matching the winter solstice. Traces of human occupation are littered across the surrounding terrain, including what's left of ancient homes and what appears to be a kitchen facility. Even with so many examples, we still don't know what sites like this were used for. Were they a calendar, a focus for ritual activities, both, or something else entirely? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications and you'll be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.